Good evening. How's everybody doing? This is Lewis Helps live at Sunday, 7 p.m. Lewis Helps live Sundays at 7 p.m. So the reason why I do these lives, I like to explain, is to form a sense of community, a sense of coming together, specifically designed at the relationship between adults and the children. Everything is relationship. The issue we have in society right now is that it's a breakdown of relationships. That's the core issue, more so than all the effects that we're seeing. All the outcomes of the breakdown of the relationship over time between adults and between the youth and the children, between parents and between their children, between authority and those that take care of the children and the youth that are under that authority, be in schools, institutions, centers, social centers, things of that nature. The children do not trust us. We have lost our credibility and our authority, unfortunately, as a whole, as a team. And I see everything corporately as the economy. So what I want to talk about this week is something I talked about with the fellas at Trumbull this past Friday. I want to talk about regrets. And what really made me start thinking about regrets and why they're so painful. There are things that we have done in our life, I can speak for myself personally, they're heavy. It's huge regrets, large regrets. A regret is just basically anything you look back on in your past and you say, I would not have done that. I would not have said that. I would not have gone over there. I would not have committed to action. So over the course of the past couple of weeks, when I'm driving, I'm listening to one book in the car. It's this book right here. 10X is easier than 2X. Excellent book. I would recommend anybody who is on a journey of personal development, improving themselves, listen to it, go grab it, read it, take it to the lab. It's a game changer. It's a classic. It's a classic. And I've also been reading this book, Power vs. Force. It's an older book. Some of y'all might be familiar with it. I just found out about it. Listen to Patrick Bet-David. I might say this name wrong. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. So he was talking about that's one of the most powerful books he's read. And this is why I love to read. This is why I said we have to be able to read. We have to be able to educate ourselves. We have to listen and challenge our mind and challenge our thoughts. And this is why men and women create books. This is why they write these things down to be able to express a lifetime experience to other people in the hopes of improving society on a whole. So over the course of the last couple of weeks, it's got my mind thinking a little different. It's, as Myron would say, old school cat I listen to out of Tampa, it's moving some furniture in my mind between 10X is easier than 2X and this power versus force. So the premise behind 10X is easier than 2X is that the person you are right now is based upon 80% of the activities that you do, the habits that you have, the beliefs that you have, the faith that you exercise at that level. That 80% of your thoughts, your doing, your activity creates who you are now. And then that 20% is something special. And the idea that if you think of yourself in terms of just small incremental things, it's very hard. It's a lot harder than looking at yourself and taking a 10X. So let's look at the 2X and the 10X as steps. So if you only want to take 2 steps up and elevate yourself 2 steps, it's so close, you don't have to change the 80% of who you are. So therefore, now you're stuck in this world of what got you here won't get you there. So you don't have to change that much. So you keep all your 80% and it's not transformative. And it makes it very hard. For instance, it's hard to lose 10 pounds. The reason being is you know you can lose 10 pounds. Everybody knows they can lose 10 pounds. You can lose 10 pounds in a matter of probably about 14 days. About 2 weeks, you can lose 10 pounds. Every human being can do it, no matter where you at. And you know you can do it. That's what makes it so hard. It's harder to lose the 10 pounds versus saying, I'm going to get into shape so I can compete in a body contest. The reason being, this is his premise. The 10X, the 10 steps, to become that person who can compete in that tournament, it's more than just losing the 10 pounds. It would take a retraining of your mind. You know that everything you're doing, that 80%, you got to throw it away and become a new person so you can do the new thing. And starting something new makes your list of actionable steps a lot shorter, a lot clearer, because you know you can't take none of this 80% and go from who you are now to being able to compete like at that high level physically. So you would have to take on a whole new understanding of identity and throw the old 80% away and reinvent yourself. And he was saying this is a different mindset. It's easier to aim at a new thing that's higher, 10 levels higher than it is 2 levels higher. And the results are better. And I'm like, man, that's deep. And I've lived that before. My first goal ever in my life, while I was incarcerated, the first thing I've ever done in my adult life on my own accord, because there was something intrinsically in me that wanted it. He talks about wants, not being needs. I talked about that earlier a couple weeks ago. He had a little different take on what I was saying, but it's similar, somewhat in the premise, that your needs keep you stagnated. Needs are low-level things. He says the want, you don't have to explain it. You just want it. And that's what will motivate you. I go as far as desires. But the key was this. I was at Trumbull Correctional. And the way the basketball court is set up, you got the big court, big long court, where you play the main game at. And then you had 2 smaller courts on the side. So it was still two basketball hoops where you could run full court, but it was much smaller. So when we had open rec or open gym, when we would be able to come out the block and go play like intramural basketball without the clock, just, you know, you pick up teams and your 5 beat that 5 and next man up who got winners. All the bums played in the back of the gym. I'm talking about all like so you had A-League, B-League, C-League, A-League being the best. All the C-League players, all the dudes that shouldn't be out there, all the old guys that's blew their knee out and slow and can't jump now, they all played in the back of the gym. All the good players played in the front of the gym. You know, you came out, you had your team, you had the people you don't run with, the people you beef with, and it was like an event, you know, to come out the rec and be on the A-League side. So I had a brother I started dealing with, I think it was my bunkie. I can't quite remember, was we bunkies? Anyway, I started dealing with him, and he was a good basketball player. And our world started merging. So I really didn't care about being good at basketball at night. You just play to, you know, get a sweat, whatever, to go out there and kick it with your dudes. And I started seeing the game differently because he was playing at a higher level, and that influence was starting to rub off. So when I went out there and I played one time with the A-Leagues, and I sucked. I was terrible. I was garbage. I was god awful. And they let me know it. And it's like, man, go down there, start off down there, go play down there. So when I went down there, I knew, and this is what I said, this is the first thing that intrinsically was inside of me that I wanted to improve on. I knew I was not supposed to be down here with these bums. I knew, this is the first time this has happened in my life. I knew clearly, without a doubt, I was not supposed to be down on this bum end with these C-League players and these dudes that shouldn't be playing basketball. The issue was my skill set, what I knew, and the abilities I had was most definitely I was supposed to be down there. But it was the want and the desire inside of me where I knew it was something better in me. And I made a commitment, a 10X commitment to be an A-League player. And that was the only goal. Wasn't no deep thing, wasn't a bunch of details. I wasn't trying to figure out how I was going to get there. All I knew is all the A-League players down there, and I'm going to saturate myself. And that's why I saturated my time, my effort, and my thoughts. I got a job at the gym so I could work all the rec periods. That increased my time. I hadn't read a whole bunch of books about self-improvement. I didn't know what I didn't know. But everything I did was the steps to 10X. And that's basically what the brother's saying, is that 10X is easier than 2X. If I just wanted to get a little bit better, I'd have still been down there in the C-League side. But because I wanted to saturate myself in the discipline of understanding how to become an A-League level player, how to compete at that level, I threw myself all in, took a full commitment that had courage. I had to change who I was. It was ups and downs. It was painful. It meant changing my mind. It meant changing how I spent my time. It meant changing the people I talk to, what I talk about. It meant a physical discipline. Started jumping rope a lot. Had to get in shape, get my wind up. Basketball shape is different than other type of shape. So when I'm reading a book, I'm like, dang, that's true. I'm like, that's true, because the first thing I committed to in my life and really made a change on, it was a 10X commitment. It wasn't a little bitty commitment. I had to completely change who I was. I had to redefine who I was as a human being to reach that goal. So, and I did play A-League. I did improve greatly. So, between that book and then this book here, that was the 10X is easier than 2X, that premise. Power versus Force, the premise of the Power versus Force is that throughout history, he's saying mankind throughout history has really not moved anything. He calls it points, like 5 points, that we have not really taken a leap in consciousness. We got a bunch of stuff around us, right? We got a bunch of stuff, a bunch of distractions, a bunch of garbage that we invented and designed to distract us from the very important thing, which is developing an inner self understanding so that we can improve the most important thing, which is our understanding of ourselves. I'm going to read this real quick. A couple big words in here I might say them wrong. That's going to be all right. Y'all get the gist. Because between the 10X's and 2X in this book, Power versus Force, is where I start thinking about regrets. What are regrets really useful for? Why do we have these regrets? So it said, society constantly expends its efforts to correct effects instead of causes, which is one reason why the evolution of human consciousness proceeds so slowly. Mankind is really barely on the first rung of the ladder. We have not yet solved even such primitive problems as world hunger. The accomplishments of mankind, in fact, thus far, are most impressive for having been achieved almost blindly through trial and error. While this random search for solutions has resulted in a maze of baffling complexity, true answers always have the hallmark of simplicity. He said, true answers always have the hallmark of simplicity. The basic law of the universe is economy. The universe does not waste a single quark. All serves a purpose and fits into a balance. There are no extraneous events. Man is stuck with this lack of knowledge about himself until he can learn to look beyond apparent causes. From the human record, we may note that answers never arise from identifying so-called causes in the world. Instead, it's necessary to identify the conditions that underlie understandable causes, and these conditions exist only within man's consciousness itself. No definitive answer to any problem can be found by isolating sequences of events and projecting upon them a mental notion of causality. There are no actual causes within the observable world. As we shall demonstrate, the observable world is a world of effects. Man, listen, I know that's a lot of words, it's wordy. I've been reading it slow. I know y'all ain't gonna catch all that, but basically what I gather from that, with the influence of the 10X is easier than 2X and the Power versus Force, which I've been under influence for the last couple of weeks, is this. Check this out. With our youth, we look at the state of the violence. We look at the state of the disinterest in working. They have no interest in authority. And what we say, because it's a great cop-out. What's up, Tammy? How you doing? What we say, because this is a great cop-out, is it's rap music, Nike tennis shoes, video games, and because they don't know their dad. Now, if you just chit-chat in the barbershop, all that sound good, I believe it's all bullcrap. I know it's all bullcrap. You can go right now to YouTube and look up videos from the 50s and 60s and see gangs and see gangbangers. Wasn't no rap music then. Wasn't no rap music back then. Gangs have been around for a long time, and they ain't going nowhere. So what the brother is saying is, understand the conscience of who you are. The simplicity of dealing with yourself. We would rather have the distractions, because see, if I claim it's rap music, if I claim it's Nike, if I claim it's video games, right? If I claim it's people don't know their father, what's up that? Yeah, home environment, absolutely. But ain't nobody looking at, you got all these kids. All kids, all human beings used to be kids. That's how it works. The only way it works. Every human being, I'm 44. I used to be a kid at some point in my life. At some point, I was somebody's kid. And when I say somebody, I ain't talking about just my mom and daddy, Cheryl and Lewis. I'm talking about I was a community's kid. And it was all these grown people, all these tall people in schools and churches, social services, all these things that were around me, the police, the fire department, right? All these people were around me as a child, just like all the other children in the neighborhood. And they sat there, and they sat there, and they sat there, and they watched the decline. And they like to blame the decline on some outside force when everything is within us. Where am I going with this? When the brother was talking about the consciousness of yourself, if we work on the consciousness of ourselves, we will help our kids. When you're on an airplane and they going through the checklist before they take off, when they talk about that little oxygen bag that come down, what do they tell you? Don't go try and help somebody or try to assess somebody else's situation first. Put the mask on yourself so you don't pass out and you ain't a casualty. Make yourself strong first. If you want to be a better parent, if you want to help society, start working on yourself. Turn the music off, turn the books on. Start working on your personal development. Start taking that journey you don't want to take. The reason why you're watching YouTube all day, you scrolling, you drinking, you partying, you working out, you doing all these fake distractions. As the brother talked about, we got all this fake stuff we done created, but we really ain't moved nowhere. Thank you, Terry. Because we won't work on ourselves. See, it's scary when you turn all the noise off. See, it's quiet in here. All I can hear is the fan. It's scary to deal with myself because I know all my lies. Like Myron Gold made me see that. So you the best liar you know. You know every time you done faked it. I know every time I done been bullcrap. So what the books made me think about is this: regrets. Regrets will destroy you. Trust me, I know. I took a man's life at the age of 19. What's up, cuz? And I'm talking about, you talking about something to eat somebody alive, man. And this ain't for nobody to feel sorry for me because I did what I did. I deserve the punishment I deserved. The system worked. The economy worked. God's economy. When I say the system, I ain't talking about prison. I'm talking about the universe. So that's a big regret. Huge regret. I got some huge regrets. Some things that you wish you wouldn't have done. But between these two books, this 10X is easier than 2X and the Power versus Force, it made me start seeing something. I said, dang. So how do we deal with regrets? Jay-Z got a song talking about you got to learn to live with regrets. How do we live with regrets? Where do regrets play a place at? This is what I came up with, man. And after this, I'm going to shut up and leave y'all with this. And the adults need this. The kids need to understand this. The kids ain't got as many regrets as we got yet. They ain't become adults that's as confused as we are. We confused. We old and confused and getting older. Look inside yourself. The bigger the regret, 10X is easier than 2X. Check this out now. I'm going somewhere. The bigger the regret, the ones that keep you up at night, the ones the reason what make you drink, the ones that make you go want to smoke a blunt, them regrets that keep you crying in the bed, depressed and stuff, right? The regrets that you front and you hide, the trauma, them ugly things you don't want to talk about, the regrets you got in your life, right? The bigger the regret, the reason why the regret is debilitating, the reason why the regret is crushing you and is pressurizing you is because you're looking at it the wrong way. Your perspective is wrong. Whatever the regret is, that's the lesson. Check this out. The bigger the regret, the bigger the lesson. When you look at it and you realize the reason why it's such a big regret is because it's you inside internally saying the thing that I did, the thing that I said is not intrinsically who I am. So see, it's hard to fight against yourself. The bigger the regret, what it's saying is, this is not the person that you are. So until you look at the regret and stop worrying about the effect of it, how bad the person was hurt, how horrible it was, that's a shame game. That's a shame game that's going to keep you weak. Go back and deal with yourself and say, Lewis, what you did was horrible. What you did was destructive. What you did was nasty. It's the worst thing you could do because ain't no coming back from that. And I can live in that. If I live in that, I'm still in prison, in misery. I'm still in prison crying. I'm still in prison. Woe is me. But when I went back and said, no, what type of person does something like that? And start unraveling, exactly, accountability, and start unraveling that ball of yarn and saying, what kind of person will destroy another person that looked like him? And I started working on myself. I took accountability. Responsibility is the hell that you're going to catch. Everybody get responsibility. You can't run from responsibility. Accountability is a mental assent. It's a claiming of the thing, possessing it. When I took accountability for my mind, for the actions, for the person who would do that thing, that's when I took it to the next jump. Because the thoughts that I had did not coincide with who I intrinsically was. It's already in you, man. The truth of God is within you. That's why it's revelation. You got to reveal and find that thing within yourself. That's the reason why your life is so miserable. Because you saying, I am not the person according to the things I'm doing. And the only way to change that is you got to throw away all that 80% of the fake you and rebuild a whole nother person. Value and identity is made up, man. The bigger the regret, it's what you're supposed to be focused on. But you focus on it from the wrong perspective. You should focus on it from the inner perspective. That regret they got, the thing you said, the thing you did, the place you went, the thing that you hate you did. It does not define you. What it's telling you is a sign. It is a sign that the economy is giving you, that the universe is giving you, that God is giving us to show you that's not who you are. Because if that's who you were, you wouldn't be tripping over it. If that's who you really were, you wouldn't be tripping over it. It wouldn't bother you. It wouldn't keep you up at night. You wouldn't care. The bigger the regret, it's a lesson. That is the life lesson where it begins. Where you got to go and look inside yourself and rebuild yourself. Because the person you are now will not take you to the person you need to be. Embrace your regrets, man. Regrets are not bad. Regrets are great. The bigger the regret, the bigger the understanding should be. That's not who you are. That's why I hurt so bad. That's why I mess with you so much. But you got to go and take accountability of the thoughts, because it's your thoughts that made you do that. Stop worrying about the effects. So you're looking at the aftermath. You're looking at the aftermath. You looking like after the crash. What they do is, like, God forbid, an airplane crash. They go look at the black box and they study what happened, what led up to this, what didn't happen, what wasn't calibrated right, so it don't happen again. They don't go and just cry over the bodies all day. They said, well, how can we prevent this from happening again? They go back to the beginning. What didn't we do? What didn't happen on the checklist? Do an audit of yourself, man. When you start auditing yourself and stop being worried about everybody else and criticizing everybody else and worried about what everybody else doing, man, that's that 10X leap, man. You go from C League with the bums to the A League, man. You great. You got greatness inside of you. It's already in you. It's already in you. All the things that you don't like the most, the biggest regrets, is just a sign showing that's not who you truly are. Because that's who you were. You wouldn't even trip over it. You wouldn't even trip over it. So, like I said, the hope of this channel is to build a community of builders and thinkers. A community that understands that personal accountability and rebuilding ourselves is the way you're going to help everybody else. Put the mask on yourself first. We try to run around and tell the kids what to do. When I talk to the juveniles, they always say that. They hate when people come in here and try to tell them what they should do. It ain't working in your life. How you going to tell me what I should do? It ain't working in your life. I see you grown kids got great clarity. Great clarity, because they see hypocrisy a mile away, and they speak truth. That's why people don't like to talk to kids. It ain't working in your life. Your life sucks. How you going to tell me what to do? Let's build together, man. I love y'all. Love yourself. Sundays at 7. Please share. Please give me some comments. I would love to hear about some topics that y'all would like to talk about. I would love to hear some things that y'all interested in. I would love to hear some people that might want to come on and talk and build. You ain't got to agree with me. You come on and tell me you don't agree. That's fine, too. You know, pick a side. I'm on this side. It's a gulf between me and everybody else that's on the other side, and I'm okay with that. I love y'all. Love yourself. It's Lewis Helps. Go to lewishelps.com. Sign up.